Hey everyone, welcome back to Mia's and Christian's podcast here on YouTube. Please go follow our TikTok, Instagram, everything you can find. Please enjoy. Have a great, wonderful time. Hey everyone, welcome back to Mia's and Christian's podcast channel here on YouTube. So today we are going to be talking about greediness, and we decided to talk about this topic mostly because the holidays are coming up, and this could also be around your birthday, but not much on your birthday because you can ask for what you want on your birthday. But today we're going to be talking about greediness because of the holidays coming up. So Christian, do you want to say hi?
What's up, guys? How are you doing?
So today I'm feeling a bit under the weather, but that's how it is sometimes. When we go into break, a lot of us start getting, a little bit of a cold. And but that's not going to stop us from doing a podcast here on YouTube. You guys might see a post on TikTok and Instagram, but it's not really the whole video. The whole videos will always be on YouTube here. So, we're going to begin. So yesterday we didn't do a podcast, but that's okay. Things happen. But today we are back on it. So last time I started the podcast, so Christian's going to be leading us off today. So Christian, you begin.
So yes, hey guys again. I hope you guys are enjoying the break, if most of you are on break. So we're going to talk about greediness. So a lot of times people can be greedy, like when it comes to wanting to get things that they would like. And also greediness is in the Bible, and the most important thing when it comes to being grateful is that we have to be grateful for what we have, because not everybody gets a gift, and not everybody gets the things that we get, like a roof over our head, food, water, electricity, clothing, and all the things. And some of us don't even get things that we want, like gaming consoles or phones or baseball cards or anything like that. So it's important that we be grateful, because or even sometimes people can be greedy because they didn't get what they want, right? And if we're going to be like that, then people are not really going to want to give you anything if you're going to be greedy, and if you're not going to accept that, hey, maybe I should thank them or not be greedy so much. So, yeah. And do you want to add anything to that, Mia?
So what you said was very true about everything. First and foremost, it's a sin to be greedy. It's one of the 7 deadliest sins. And then going more into that, a lot of us tend to be greedy when we don't get something that we don't. When we want something and we don't get it, we expect more out of it. So what I mean more about that is that, let's say for example, I get a little notebook for Christmas, and that's not really what I asked for. I asked for, let's say, a new phone, right? And I got a notebook, and so I'm gonna be looking at it, and then I start saying, oh, look, what is this for? What am I supposed to get use out of this? I didn't ask for this. Questions like that. People come up with the most questions as possible, to make the other person feel bad. And greediness is something that we've often seen. A lot of families see it. And I don't know exactly how to say it because I know how to say it in Spanish, pero entre todos, in everyone, the family, they see it often, where some kids want this for Christmas, and they're like, okay, well, no, I didn't want that, I asked for this and that, and then they start throwing tantrums, and that's being greedy, and not a lot of us are not gonna get what we want, but that's not right to be treating the other person unfairly. They tried their best and stuff. So, and then going into the Bible, in the Bible it says, don't always be grateful for what you have. Don't go on and beyond about you wanting more and more and more and more. But then again, you have to give to people too, because you taking it all in is being greedy. You have to be humble and give back. And it's been seen with a lot of people, when there's a rich man, you see a rich man with a lot of money, and you expect him to at least give a homeless person $1. But if they don't give a homeless person $1, they're being greedy. But, it's their money too, but you have to be able to give to receive. And even if you don't ever give back, you have to at least humble yourself a little more. Yeah, some people you can't afford to, give others the opportunity that you don't have. Like if you see a homeless person, but you're also struggling yourself. Yeah, then that's definitely, understandable and all. And it might not be possible to give at that exact moment, and that's okay because, Jesus understands the paths you're going through, but it's also better to give than just to receive. And then being more grateful. Let's say again you just get a notebook for Christmas. You have to be understandable. You have to be like, okay, well this is what I got. You have to say thank you and smile. Just go on about your day. Even if you don't like it, be respectful that they at least got you something. Give it to someone who's more appreciative than to that person, because now if you get a notebook for Christmas and that person sees that you don't like it, what's the first thing that's going to go through their mind? They didn't like it. That means I'm not going to get them anything anymore because they're not liking the things I'm getting them. And that's how you start downgrading to the things that you're supposed to and want to get. But now if you get a notebook and you smile and say thank you, this really means a lot to me, then they're going to say, wow, they actually appreciate what I got them. Maybe next time I'll get them something better. See, these little things you have to think about. And yeah, that's more of it. But Christian, do you have something to say?
Well, I definitely agree with what you say, Mia. Like, if somebody gives you something, guys, and at least you don't like it, the least thing you can do is just at least smile, or if you don't like smiling, or then say thank you. Like, I really appreciate you doing this for me. Like, you don't have to be rude about it, or you don't have to be saying like, oh, I don't like it, because like what Mia says, if you say it to that person, then they're probably not gonna want to get you things anymore. If you're gonna say things like, oh, I don't like this gift, and yeah. So, anything you want to add, Mia?
Yeah, so the word greed has a different meaning for everyone. For everyone, greed might be driving force that motions you to do better. While for some people, greed is immoral. I think that's how you say it, like wrong. And it comes from the expense of other people's needs and emotions. The word greed, again, it has an origin of German language. It means eager or vicious. As per its various definitions, greed can be described as the excessive need or desire for something. So, technically, what this means is that you want more. But what you're not doing is giving. As you receive, you're not giving. So, greediness is like, let's say, for example, we're having a feast meal and someone brings a piece of cake and you're supposed to divide it into, let's say there's 4 people. But what you're doing is you're taking more than the quantity that you're supposed to. That's being greedy. And a lot of people, mostly like the wealthy people, they do that because when you make a lot of money, that's all you're going to start wanting. More money. And it's, again, for food. You're going to want more food, and then there's more to that. And then you're going to want more than it's actually required. So, example, people are supposed to eat small portions, but again, a lot of people are greedy and they're going to want more. So from a psychological viewpoint, greed can be described as a behavior that is associated with lack of empathy for others. So you don't really you're not humble, and you're not very caring about others. Greedy people may frequently experience feelings or indignancy, like jealousy, anger, unhappiness, and other life emotions. So a lot of people that don't get what they want, they get angry and they're unhappy, and then if they see the other person who has it, they get jealous. And being jealous is also one of the sins. This also leads to lower self-esteem. So you see other people have something better, and then you start questioning yourself, and then you start feeling bad because you don't have what they have. Again, a lot of poor people, they see a new person with a new phone, and they're like, wow, that could never be me because I'm too poor and stuff like that. No, you have to be more, positive about what you have. Be thankful. And it just leads to negative emotions, and you're going to start feeling bad. The negative emotional state later manifests into angry outbursts, emotional discretions, and nervousness. So when you don't get it and you start thinking about these things about yourself, you go to negative states, you're going to start feeling anger, and you're going to start releasing it to other people that don't really have the ability to, give what you want. And then you start getting nervous and stuff. So a lot of people wonder, why are people greedy? So sometimes it could be, discontentment. Discontentment means people are never satisfied with what they have. So if you have so much and you're still not satisfied, and you see this in a lot of rich people, because they think they have the power to get what they want, and they're going to keep wanting more, and they're never satisfied with what they have. Lack of possessions means, lack of possessions of wealth. The actual lack makes a person earn so much, but they can be nervous, the needs of. So, for example, one might borrow money from a person to repay a loan or debt. After that debt is paid off, they now owe the person money, and it becomes a cycle where they're like, oh well, this bank is gonna lend me money, and I don't have to pay it back. I can pay it back whenever I want. So I'm just gonna keep getting and getting and getting, but you're never gonna give back. And then a lot of people feel, the insecurity. Insecure people always feel that they need to compare themselves with others. And that's something that we've seen a lot in teenagers mostly. You see a lot of kids want a new iPad, a new phone, anything that has to do with what we like, And then you see another kid and you're like, wow, that kid really has everything they need. But maybe they don't have the families that we have. We have to also think about these things. And it's just greedy traits. It could be from traits from our family members and stuff. But we also have to see more into that. So, Christian, do you want to add something to that?
Well, I agree with what you say, Mia. Like, when it comes to being greedy, guys, we can't compare ourselves to others, because let's say if one person has, like, a new, computer, and you don't have a new computer, then it can lead to, like, bad things, like low self-esteem, because you don't have a computer like that person do. But we have to see it from maybe our parents' perspective. Like, maybe parents can't really afford computers, or maybe parents can't really afford getting you stuff that you want. Like, if you want to get things that you want, maybe work, get a job, or save up for it. And then if you like want it so bad, like that's the least thing you can do, because not all parents can afford for things like what other families have. I mean, if you want it so much, then I guess save up your money, save up what you get paid for. I mean, maybe do some chores around the house and save. I mean, yeah, that's all I can say. So, you have anything to add to that, Mia?
Yes. So, a lot of people, well, I mean, the psychologist that I've seen here, he explains that a lot of kids tend to develop this greediness in childhood experiences. And yes, a lot of us develop a lot of things when we're little. But here it says, greed tendencies have high chance of developing from early childhood experiences. When a child is constantly ignored or discredited, they do the most to gain attention they can. This can develop their urge to obtain as much as possible to gain attention. Moreover, if a child does not receive security and love, they might attach themselves to, possessions. So if they start attaching themselves to other things that they don't have, and that's how they start collectively become greedy. Constant collection of these materials manifests into greed. Progressively, their affection in life is filled with these possessions, and this is what they have because their parents didn't give them what they wanted, so they're gonna go on and they're gonna be like, okay, well, I mean, my parents aren't gonna give me anything, so this is the only thing that's gonna give me what I like, and they're gonna want more and more and more and more. And this is why it's very important to teach kids to share. When they're little, you have to be like, hey, sharing is good. If you share your food, that's great. If you share your toys, that's great, of course, but according to research, greed tendencies are seen more in children with no siblings as compared to children who grow up with siblings. And the reason why is because, if you're an alone child, you're gonna be like, oh, this is mine, this is mine, this is mine, not for anyone else. But when you have siblings and stuff, you're taught to share with them. You're taught to share toys, you're taught to share these specific things, and you go beyond with what you have. So it's seen more in children with no siblings than children who grow up with siblings. It's also cultural values. It's self-worth. It drives into obtain the necessary without worrying about the consequences. They don't see consequences. So a lot of people say, is greediness necessarily that bad? Well, in the Bible and the sins, yeah, it's technically one of the deadliest sins. But until now, we've talked about how greed affects an individual negatively, and the problem that's everyone, who's around them and stuff. But is greed always a villain, or is it another side of a coin? The answer is yes. Just like everything else, greed also has both advantages and disadvantages. So now, let us see the positive side of this trait. So greedy people tend to work harder, perform better, and earn more than their peers. They also exhibit more productively and a goal-oriented approach to problems. Moreover, they are also, they have self-improvement, enhancement, personal growth, and achieve faster things. No matter how much they say that money does not matter, at the end of the day, we all know that it certainly mostly does, right? So, for example, people who say, money doesn't matter and stuff, at the end of the day, it really does, because what's going to pay the bills? What's going to feed you? These kinds of things we have to think about. So, again, you can give yourself satisfaction and feeling of fulfillment and praise from others, but it cannot give you an economic growth. This is where greed comes into the picture. Every successful person today was greedy once. So all of us, there's not one person who hasn't been greedy in their life. everyone in their life has been greedy. Every successful person as well. That was, that was what drove them to become better and more motivated them to work harder. Greed is also argued to be a very silent feature from a human welfare, as well as for an individual's overall well-being. All of us exhibit greedy behavior at some point in our lives. And if we don't, we should, because, it's not me saying, okay, if you've never been greedy, go outside and go be greedy. No, it's going to come into your life at some point. Excuse me. While being greedy and selfish is also almost, portrayed as a negative light, it could also help us take advantage of the good, So it's like balancing greediness, awareness, motivation, encouragement, economic growth, values, moderation, healthy competition. All these things. It's like when you're at school, what do the teachers tell you? Oh, take advantage of all the notes that you have. Use them for your exam. Okay, well, you're going to take advantage of it, That's an advantage that's being given to you. So we have to look at the bright side. But, greediness can be good and bad. But a lot of everyone goes through it. So it's not like, okay, no one has gone through it. Yes, everyone has been greedy at some point in their life. But yeah, that concludes our podcast today, guys. Being greedy. Christian, do you want to add anything before we leave?
No, I'm just gonna say I really liked what you said, Mia. And an advice for you guys today is be thankful. Like, if somebody gives you something, like I said, just say thank you. Smile if you like it. If you like to smile. But yeah, just take the time and be thankful, because remember, if you don't show thankfulness, then people are not going to want to get you anything anymore. And then also, if there's something that you really want, and you got to remember, maybe family can't afford it because they're saving up for other things like bills, then least thing you can do is you can save your own money for it also. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. You guys, you want to say anything, Mia?
No, that's about it, guys. I hope you guys really enjoyed this podcast session we had today. It's a very important life lesson. Even if you aren't religious, you still have to be grateful. It just goes all around. Greediness is something that's seen in everything, not just religion. But yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Tuesday, and we'll see you guys for tomorrow's podcast. So yeah, bye guys. Bye, Chris. Say Christian, bye.
Farewell, guys. Bye.
Have a good one, guys. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching, and follow for more. Bye.